there was already conflicts and drama, so I'm excited for season 2. Hello and welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. So I really was not planning to make a second video this week. I am going through a lot in my personal life, so I wasn't making as many videos this month. But then we had a bit of a Netflix reality TV emergency and I just couldn't not talk about it. I've just been really stressed lately and I'm excited that this show helped me escape from that stress a little bit, and I'm so excited about it. So I want to talk about The Circle season 2 premiered on Netflix this past week on Wednesday, I believe. I binged it right away. I was like anticipating it. I was just like, I need The Circle back in my life. And the way they're doing it this season, which I'm not too happy about, is this past week they released the first 4 episodes of the show, and after this they're gonna release each episode weekly. I'm pretty annoyed by this. Like, I just want to freaking binge it. Like, I love binging reality TV, or even if we got like an episode a day or something, but it's just waiting weekly for my TV shows is just not acceptable in my eyes anymore. It feels like crumbs when you are getting it weekly. But regardless, I'm excited and I'm glad they at least released the first 4 episodes at once so that I could binge them. But The Circle is annoying in that it always ends in this cliffhanger thing that they like to do every single episode. So I think watching it weekly is going to be pretty painful as the season goes on, but I'm excited anyway. So I just wanted to make a video talking about my first impressions, reaction to the first few episodes, and especially to the cast. I want to go through the cast and what I think of them, and I want to get y'all's opinions as well on this cast, because some of them I'm still pretty undecided about, but overall I'm really excited. It's a really fun cast, it seems like. If you're new to my channel, I do a lot of pop culture and Netflix and reality TV commentary in general, and I'd love to have discussions with anyone that will listen about trashy pop culture stuff like The Circle season 2. So I'm mostly going to focus on talking about the first episode, but I'll give a spoiler alert when I start talking about like the first few eliminations and whatnot. So if you don't know, The Circle is a reality TV competition show on Netflix that is social media, sort of last one standing type of social game show. The format of it is a little fluid in that it doesn't follow an exact formula every single episode. Like, the episodes end in different places. They'll bring new cast members in throughout. Like, it is, it's not the most standard of competition elimination type shows. And it did come from the UK, as far as I know. The UK is always so good at making good reality shows. Netflix has only done 1 season of the American one so far. This is the second. They've done a lot of spin-offs of different countries. The Circle Brazil, The Circle France, and I have not checked out any of these, so let me know if there's a particular season that is really good. I was a big fan of season 1 of The Circle, except for how it had an amazing cast that was so fun and cool and memorable. But it was so, like, no one was thinking strategy for most of the time. People were just emphasizing, like, being genuine, and I was just annoyed at the lack of drama and lack of sort of strategizing alliances. I come from watching a lot of Survivor, and I have a video coming up soon about Survivor, so I'll talk more about that show there. But when I was watching season 1 of The Circle, I was like waist deep in Survivor as well and getting into that franchise. And on Survivor, it's just a whole, I'm just used to the cutthroatness, the strategizing. I mean, on Survivor, it's $1 million, so like it does get very vicious. But I also see it as like Circle season 1, I think, was just being a social experiment. I feel like as the circle progresses and moves on, people will be more inclined to strategize and manipulate, and I'm already seeing it in season 2 that they are doing that a lot more. There was already conflicts and drama, so I'm excited for season 2 because of that. It seems to really improve upon that one part of season 1 I didn't like. There was just not enough strategizing. I was like, there's $100,000 on the line, just do something. People were just there to make friends, basically. It's similar to the first seasons of Survivor as well, so I think it just comes with age that people will get more savvy about the game and how it's played and how to manipulate it. So yeah, season 2, in contrast to season 1, like, people are coming in thinking about the strategy. They're thinking about alliances. They're thinking about numbers. After like the first elimination, they're really focused on numbers and sort of who's on whose side on certain discussions, and it's just like, dang, this is exciting. So let's just get into the cast and sort of go one by one about each player. First, let me start with host. Michelle Buteau is back. I'm glad they showed her face at the beginning. I don't know if they did that on season 1. I feel like Michelle Buteau deserves more credit. She's really funny as the host of The Circle, and she is in almost every Netflix girl or teen movie I watch as like a small comedic character towards the beginning of the movie. She has like 5 lines and then she's out. So I feel like she just keeps getting these very small roles, and I hope she can sort of grow and get even better better exposure, because I think she's really funny and I like her as the host of The Circle. Now let's go into the cast, the actual players of the game. First we have entering is Savannah. She reminds me a lot of Olivia Rodrigo, the driver's license singer, teen sensation. Like, I feel like Savannah's like an older, cool sister of Olivia Rodrigo. She's really cool. She's clearly like glamorous and intellectual, and I love that. I liked her a lot coming in. I'll talk more about stuff later on, but she was a great sort of first person that we meet. So second to walk in, we have our first catfish, and that is Jack playing Emily. Oh god, I hate that. Okay, this is the one I hate of the season. Jack is a guy who is, he feels like he's like the Joe Rogan podcast personified, which obviously is very unappealing in my opinion. So he's like this type of guy that's just like he's a bit sexist, and he is playing like this hot sorority girl, Emily, a friend of his. He's just very kind of one-dimensional with what he thinks women like. Like, he's obsessed with saying women just love rosé. Not the queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, but the wine. Like, all he can talk about as a woman is like liking wine, and he's just obnoxious. Like, this guy is like who Chet Hanks was talking about, having a white boy summer type of guy. He's that kind of guy. Surprisingly though, I am happy he's there for me to hate on. I did feel season 1 lacked villains. This guy sort of coming in trying to be the villain, so I'm glad I have at least someone to hate and to root against, if that makes sense. I definitely don't want him to get close to the top, but I'm glad there's someone there to like maybe stir stuff up. Though he says he's a villain, but I haven't seen too much like villain quality aside from being a sexist in how he plays a woman. As far as the game goes, he hasn't done anything that villainous, so like, I don't know if he's all talk about the villain thing. I hope he's not. I'm really expecting when you're coming in saying you're the villain that you're gonna be like Johnny Fairplay level. I don't think this guy has it in him, to be honest, but we'll see how villainous he can actually be. So third on the cast, we have Bryant. He's the white boy hippie type breathwork guy. Bryant, I can see how he would be like a really obnoxious and annoying, but I do feel like he's sweet. Like, I don't know, he's Bryant is definitely cringy, but like, I don't know, he's sweet, and I think he means well. But like, this personality does come across obnoxious and kind of a little snooty, I feel like, because you're like, I'm enlightened and I'm, you know, it's kind of that vibe. So next we have one of my favorite contestants. That is Delisa, who is a mom from the Bronx. So I love her so much. She is sort of like my narrator so far of the show. Like, she's the one I go to as a viewer to like tell me what's going on. So Delisa, to me, she's the narrator, and it's really interesting she came in as a catfish. She is playing a man. Delisa is using her husband's photos to play Trevor to the game and the group. She's one that I feel like she could have come in as herself and maybe had more success, like, because she's like really cool, and I feel like she would have clicked with a lot of people. But also, she's playing a single dad, even though her husband is not a single dad because they're together and raising a child. But I think she's playing a single dad in order to exploit any flirtation or people that are in there to get relationships, which is, some people go in there for that. I don't think it's true at all. It's just like something to make their storyline interesting, I think. It is an interesting and smart strategy to come in as a single dad. Because you can exploit the flirtation, but you can still sort of have that sweet, like, fatherly thing going that makes people sort of respect you. I'm interested to see how her storyline plays out. I hope she stays in as long as possible. So next we have Tara-Leisha, who is this, like, brainy, cool girl. She and Savannah at the start seem to have like a lot in common. They're both sort of very intellectual but glamorous women, sort of strong personalities, confident. It was cool they sort of became besties at the beginning. Tara-Leisha is the one who's a teacher, and she's from Texas, so go Texas. I really like her. I like her blue hair. So next we have probably one of my favorite contestants, and I think this guy is gonna be such a big fan favorite this season. It is Lee playing River, who Lee is like an old guy. He is 58 years old, and he is playing a young gay man that's kind of also hippie-ish or hipster type. Lee is actually a author from Texas, and apparently he's been writing books under a woman's name for decades. He's so cute. He doesn't know young people lingo. He didn't know what YOLO meant, and he is so freaking adorable. It's barely been the first few days and he's already so like invested, and he's taking all his little notes, and he has little flashcards of social media lingo. I love Lee. I think a lot of people will love him a lot this season. I hope he stays long, but I'm worried for him. So the next cast member we meet is Chloe, who I feel pretty conflicted about Chloe in this season. She's probably the cast member I'm most like iffy about, aside from the guy I hate already. Chloe is actually from another way trashier Netflix show called Too Hot to Handle. I tried watching that show. I got a couple episodes in and it was too hot for me to handle. Like, it was so trashy, like to a level that was just like unpleasant. And to get to that level for me, it's difficult. It's difficult. I commend that show for getting there. So she's from this Too Hot to Handle show, and I'm assuming Netflix just really liked her personality and wanted to keep her around for a different show. And I see why Netflix likes her so much. She is extremely energetic and like funny. Her accent is funny. She's from Essex in the UK, which is a very infamous place for like this archetype of woman who is very, I don't know, I only learned this from like UK Drag Race and Brittany Broski on YouTube, but a mix of a New Jersey woman and an LA woman. That's an Essex woman to me. That's what it seems like. A very specific accent, a very specific makeup and styling type. So it's definitely a thing. And Chloe is very much an Essex woman stereotype in how she is. But For me, it feels a little overdone, like she's overperforming and exaggerating every single thing she does. She like is always screaming, which just for me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of loud noises. But I don't know, the amount that Chloe screams is just a tad annoying for me, and I would really love to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's cool to have her here, or is she like a little much? It also to me feels a little bit like it's cheating to put her in, because it's like clout chaser energy for me. It's like, feels like she's just there to stay relevant and stay famous. And I know everyone on the show is there to get famous, ultimately. But I like to pretend it's not, and like, Chloe sort of breaks my fantasy of like, oh, these are regular people that are not famous at this time. And Chloe feels like she's already an influencer, already famous, so it feels kind of like give others a chance to be reality stars kind of thing. I don't know. Am I just being hateful at her? I'm iffy about her, and I'm undecided. And she definitely has funny moments. I just, overall, she just screams a lot. I'm surprised that the other contestants can't hear her in the building screaming from like a few doors down. I feel like they don't live in that building, or if they do live in that building, they live like totally different sections of it. I don't know, but like I would think they could hear Chloe at her volume. So finally, to enter in the first episode is Courtney. Courtney is a pop culture YouTuber. I'm not sure what show he hosts, but Courtney's giving me hope that maybe I could get on The Circle someday. Imagine me introducing myself at the beginning, being like, I'm known for criticizing Netflix shows like this one on the internet. I feel like Netflix would want that. They would want me criticizing the show. I could make that a character. Don't you think? Should I be on Circle? Tweet at Netflix that I should be on The Circle. I would love to be on The Circle. Imagine, I think I'd be good at it, because I'm good at like typing conversation. Like, I'm horrible at face-to-face conversation, but typing. So anyway, Courtney is really fun, really cool. So he's actually gonna lie about his profession and that he covers pop culture, because he's scared that people will view that as a big threat, and that he's like a journalist that is experienced in getting stuff out of people or knowing about celebrities. I'm not sure, but he decided to not disclose that. So he's playing himself, but he is omitting his profession, which is interesting. Overall, he's pretty bubbly, and he seems like savvy at making relationships in general. So from here on out, I'm going to go into spoilers about sort of the first few episodes, eliminations, who was influencers, and just sort of give overall thoughts about those episodes. I didn't really plan this video too much because I have a lot going on, but I just wanted to give overall thoughts about some of the major moments we've seen in episodes 1 through 4. So we've had 2 eliminations so far in The Circle Season 2 in the 4 episodes we saw. We also had a new cast member join, which was kind of a gag. So she came in as Lance Bass, which is, I love it. Oh my god, it's hilarious. She is his personal assistant. She came into the circle playing Lance Bass, which I feel like it's horrible strategy, because it's like, they're not gonna want to give a rich guy a bunch of money, you know? So I'm kind of confused about that choice, but also she is older and like not like an influencer type of person, so like I see how it could be juicy for her to play Lance. I also have like a conspiracy that like Netflix was like, we want a personal assistant of a celebrity to come into the circle to play a celebrity, because it would be so crazy, you know, for our show to have that. And I feel like they went and just asked like famous people's assistants for that. Like, I feel like this role is one they came up with before they had the celebrity or the assistant yet. They were just like, we want someone that can play a celebrity on the circle. Do y'all think that Netflix would be that sneaky? I think so. I think a lot of these things, like, they think what would be a good role to have, and they'll specifically go seek it. So I don't think it's that crazy, actually, but let me know if you think that's true. So on the first round, we had Savannah and Terralisha as influencers, and that was kind of, I was so happy for them because they were sort of like besties starting out in the first episode or so. They had very similar personalities. They were both badass, smart ladies that were playing themselves, being genuine. It's crazy how much their relationship went from besties to mortal enemies in the span of a couple episodes. So what ended up happening, which is an interesting new dynamic to the circle, they were both influencers in the first round, and they went in to decide who to eliminate from the circle. It wasn't a united decision. It was more of like a, oh, who do you want to save? And who do you want to save? Okay, if you save this person, I'll save this person, kind of. It was like a deal. It wasn't like a collaborative decision on who to block. And I think that ended up becoming their detriment, but also like a big topic of discussion the next day, because once they block Bryant, afterwards they sort of reveal who each other was trying to save and who each other was trying to eliminate. And so basically Terralisha and Savannah throw each other under the bus about who they were trying to save in the private room. That ended up getting really ugly, and the rest of the cast basically had to pick teams, to pick sides in the fight, and both of them, Savannah and Terralisha, ended up in the very bottom the next time because they were just fighting so much. They were being so catty. I was living for it though. Like, the circle didn't have this much conflict in season 1, so I'm excited that there was fighting, like actual fighting going on, not just like fake niceness all the time. But I was really sad to see them fighting because I loved them both a lot. I wanted both of them to stay. And the rest of the cast got kind of off the hook because, you know, the two that were fighting were just fighting, throwing each other in the bus. So this is a very Survivor thing too. Like, usually the vote at tribal council is between two people because it's the two people causing the most trouble kind of thing, and everyone else can sort of be under the radar. And that's what happened with them, I feel like. So I was so gagged and sad to see Savannah go. Oh my god. In the whole fight, honestly, I was team Terralisha ultimately, but again, I did not like to see them fight, or I did like it, but I didn't want them two specifically to be fighting. And I was shocked because usually in reality shows, the first person the reality show shows you is probably gonna go far because it's like the person we're introduced to the show with, if that makes sense. So Savannah was the first cast member to walk in the room, so I was shocked to see her go so early, and I was sad, but I feel like that was an important sort of lines were drawn in the sand, as Survivor players always say, after that fight. And now I feel like we're gonna start seeing majority and minority groups and alliances forming. But I'm excited that there are a lot of alliances forming, people talking about top 2 alliances, people talking about like bigger girl alliances. Like, people are strategizing from the beginning, and I'm just happy to see that. The final episode ended with Courtney, because Savannah visited him after she got eliminated because she had to visit the person she wants to win, basically. He got a special reward. He got to go to this futuristic looking spaceship room, and that was the cliffhanger we left off on. We don't know what this room is gonna be. Seems like maybe some sort of advantage. My wild guess for what it is, maybe he gets to see like a silhouette of a person, like, or like a grainy video of one of the apartments, or maybe he gets to like ask a question. I don't know. I don't know, honestly, but I'm excited to see what it is because this is a new thing for season 2. So what do you guys think it could be in that spaceship room? I'm excited to find out on Wednesday, I guess. So as far as the rest of the season, I'm really hopeful from what I'm seeing in the first few episodes to continue to see more alliances and more backstabbing and more he said, she said. I want like my grandpa died last week kind of lying gameplay from the circle, because people are just not cutthroat enough in this game, and it'll be very gag worthy once it happens. This is kind of a specific thing, but I'm hoping for 2 catfishes to like find out about each other and then keep each other's secret. Like, that would be so cool if 2 catfishes were like, oh, I know your secret, and the other one was like, I know your secret, and then they'd be like, oh, agree not to tell, and they just like don't tell people and become a powerful duo. I'm excited to see more people sort of show up. I had actually forgotten that the circle brings in people after people get eliminated, like brings in replacements, and they're kind of random. So I really like the spontaneity of the circle about who comes in and how, and the format in general, though I resent the cliffhangers if they're gonna make it weekly, but whatever. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of the season so far. I would love to have a discussion with y'all on this because I'm excited. I really love this show. This is maybe the one reality show I could be on successfully, maybe. I would have to play someone else though, like, or play some like weird draggy version of myself. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you think of the cast. Who's your favorite cast member so far? What's been your favorite moment of the first 4 episodes? I really loved when the 2 catfish were talking to each other. It was Emily, so Jack as Emily and Delisa as Trevor. They were talking to each other, and Emily was throwing out like sports references to try to seem like a cool girl. I'm not like other girls. When it's like a guy talking to Delisa, who's like, I don't know about sports. Jack was trying to impress the other guy as a girl, and the guy isn't a guy, and she didn't know about the sports team he was talking about. So it was so funny to see her, but she had notes. She was prepared. She had notes about the sports, and I respect the preparation she had. And she was able to respond something coherent about that sports team. I would not have thought to go that deep in my preparation, so kudos to her. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I talk about reality TV, Netflix, trashy pop culture stuff all the time, and I try to put up 2 videos a week. April is kind of different, but after April, once I'm settled into my new place, I'll come back to a consistent upload schedule. You can follow me at Miscellaneous on Instagram and Twitter to get updates about my new videos, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.